so this is the PDF that our system will generate, but we also provide this information back entirely in machine readable format. So it can be consumed by our customers' platforms, so automated decisions can be made as well. But for the sake of today, the PDF is presented here where you can see the risk metrics score at the top. Now, this is a combination of all the factors that I spoke to earlier, where there's an algorithm that determines whether or not these factors are considered high or low risk. As our customer, you'll be able to deem what risk threshold is acceptable for the products or services that you're offering, depending on how you wish to funnel that customer through your process. So what we're looking at here is the email validation. We're going to look at domain type. Is this an odd domain? Is it a Gmail address? And we're talking about somebody who's applying for business financing. Is this a domain that might be significantly dated that normally isn't in use by most customers? Is this a domain for an individual that might have a private domain that maybe they're participating or creating a number of synthetic IDs? So this email validation is very important. Next thing, we can see the email activity. Activity also is a leading indicator. How long has this email address been associated with this customer? The velocity, how often is this email address used? Are they using it very infrequently? Are they using it substantially? Are they using it 100 times a day? Are they using it 5 times a day? Are they using it once a week? Those are all indicators that factor into the algorithm based on prior results, so we can determine whether or not there is a potential that this might be either a hijacked email or not associated with the customer. And then, of course, we've got domain activities. This relates directly to the IP address. So when we're looking at whether or not that customer has come through and that activity from that IP address information listed below is known to be associated with former fraud or is known to be a risky domain or a risky IP address. So the optional metrics all combine with the default metrics at the top to create a multi-layer approach to assessing the total risk. Now, we don't require postal address validation, nor do we require IP or phone number validation. But including this information in the request body or the request is going to give you a more holistic picture of the actual potential for fraud that this is presenting to you before you let this customer through your funnel. So the postal address, once again, as I stated before, will determine whether or not this is an address that is associated with this individual. Is this somebody who says that this is their address for other applications they're making, or has a known address through the postal service for that name? Of course, IP address, as I prior described, it's what's key here is that within the United States? Is that outside of the United States? Is that address known to have risky or fraudulent activity in the past? And then phone number. This is a very powerful verification where we can determine whether or not it's a landline. We can determine whether or not it's a cell phone. Is it prepaid? Is it actually associated with the customer's name who is the applicant? And that's where the owner details come into play. So all of these components are assessed individually and then combined to create that risk score that you can then use as our client to determine how best to move this customer through your process.